Okay, we are live and welcome to Powerful Living and uh, great to have you with us. We've been caught a little bit by the time zone this week connecting with California, and we have Danny with us. Hi, Danny.
Hi, Tony. Good to see you, buddy.
It's good to see you. And let's nail this one. Exactly what time is it with you?
It is noon. It's a little bit
Okay.
after noon on Thursday here.
Yeah. So most of the year, there's 8 hours difference between us. But we caught the 7 hour one.
Whoops.
So if you have to see us live, great, welcome. The vast majority of people will be watching on catch up, and that's fine. So don't forget to share your feed with your friends, and we're looking forward to this time. So Danny, first question, life in lockdown there in Sacramento. Are you one of these people that's like really cool with it, or are you going stir fried there and crazy? And
It's been pretty relaxed. I mean, I have a situation where I've traveled so much that didn't realize it, but I was injuring my body with the amount of travel that I was doing. So getting off the plane and out of the hotels, my body has healed up so well that I'm actually kind of loving this.
yeah,
I don't feel locked up or resisted at all in many ways. Till I get very far from home, then you're like, oh my gosh, this is wild. Had a
yeah.
couple trips here and there, but my body is really grateful right now.
Wow. Well, that was an unforeseen benefit.
It was for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
So is there much, I mean, in the States, of course, travel by plane across the country far more prevalent than for us. So are you free to travel with all the COVID stuff around? Is there a lot of domestic flights on there?
Yeah. And most flights that you would get on are full.
Oh,
There's a couple
wow.
airlines that they leave the middle seat open, but most of the flights that I've been on are packed.
Yeah.
And everybody's got a mask on, but you're touching shoulders with people. There'll be no distancing going on in airplanes for hours.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's whatever.
Yeah. I mean, there's some crazy contradictions. That they'll close a playground, but a gym will be open. You got these sweaty guys, touching everything and pumping iron, but other places you can't go. It's very difficult to navigate.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. It's a quick way to get an argument going, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because everybody thinks they know.
Yeah, I know. And when everything is on social media and instant and multiplied, it's, oh my gosh, it's a hotbed, isn't it? Really.
It is. It really is.
So Danny, we've been so blessed. You've been to us several times and traveled a lot in the UK, and possibly most known for your role at Bethel in Reading over many years, and associated with Bill Johnson, Chris Valentin. But you relocated, didn't you, to Sacramento just a few years ago?
Mm-hmm.
Tell us about that. What was behind that move, and what has become? Has the focus shifted at all, and why Sacramento?
In 2014, Banning Leapshire really felt called to begin a local expression of Jesus culture, which was the youth band at Bethel forever, and then became really globally recognized in writing songs and producing music and doing conferences and big venues.
Yeah.
And so Sherry and I, just having such a relationship with Banning and CJ, we decided, we feel called to support them, to walk with them, to help them, because we really bring a strength where they're going to need it. So we moved our family down there in 2000. I think it was 2015. We went down there and down here, and our family moved in together. So my daughter, her husband, their 3 kids, Sherry and I, we all have lived together for going on 6 years now, and we love it. So we brought Loving on Purpose down here, started our own office. We very much are supportive with Jesus Culture. We team up on lots of stuff. Sherry worked for Banning for about almost 4 years, a little over 3 years.
Yeah.
As his movement director. So she ran all the events and did all the band and the travel and all that stuff for in the early years of him being down here. They now have a church that's obviously it's in a big giant question mark at the moment, as are most churches in America. But they pivoted. They do all their online stuff, but actual gatherings. We live in California, so it's a little. It's not open. The churches are not open yet, but who knows?
Yeah. So Loving on Purpose is the name of the ministry, and that's based in Sacramento. So tell us a little bit about that, Danny. What is Loving on Purpose? What's the premise behind it? What's the burden of your heart?
Well, we're the relationship strength of a lot of what we've done at Bethel and Jesus Culture. So we're very much wanting to help everyone have a shot at having a healthy family, having a healthy marriage, having a healthy relationship. So we have our Loving on Purpose Life Academy, which is 11 master courses, and people. We have about 20,000 students in our Life Academy, and it is, in essence, it's a way to distribute. It's a way for us to get everywhere around the world without having to leave home. And it was. We started that in 2016, so it kind of felt like our momentum was perfect when this shutdown happens and everybody goes online. Like, wow, we have a whole opportunity for people. We also are sharing that, or Brittany, my daughter, is kind of up and coming voice and face of Loving on Purpose, and so she and I are doing something called the Kylo Show, which is the Keep Your Love On show. And so we just released that yesterday. The podcast, it's available on YouTube and all the podcasting systems, and we talk for 45 minutes about really why we believe whole, healthy families are going to save the world. Yeah.
And if people want to connect with your ministry, because I mean, honestly, we've been impacted by it, and perhaps we'll talk a little bit about that. But for now, what's the best route in? What's the website, Danny, or what are the key phrases people should?
LovingOnPurpose.com or thekyloshow.com. Either one will get you right here.
Okay. And over the last 12 months, then, with the people being confined, you've seen that lift off to another level.
Yeah. It has really served a lot of folks. We changed our business model in April and made it far more accessible, far more affordable, and we just had such a massive influx of new people that we just felt like it was the Lord, and it was perfect timing.
Wow, that's great. Well, we the first time I think you came to Wolverhampton, we had some bigger public meetings, and that was fun. Revival Culture Conference and stuff like that. But I know the last time you came, we just had you principally to be with us as a team and help us. And some of the tools and some of the resources you introduced to us were phenomenal. And it's a funny old thing, you know, that really concentrating on building the capacity at the heart of things can be as beneficial as just having a big public meeting. So some of these tools are absolutely fantastic, and I want to talk. I want us to talk about those a little bit, Danny. But why is it? Let me make this the sort of angle of approach. Why is it that people resonate with what you are bringing to the body of Christ so much? Because it's distinctive to most of the stuff out there, most ministry. You have a particular premise. What is it that people find so important and valuable that you observe? Why is this emphasis so important? What is it doing that other things are not doing?
I don't know what it's doing that other things are not doing, as much as I think the feedback I get a lot is it's easy to understand and it's quick to apply and it works. So I think that when people, especially when people are in pain, when they're in relational pain, when there's a disconnect between you and your son or your daughter, or between you and your spouse, or just between important relationships, it's a powerless, terrible feeling, and you're very scared because that powerlessness starts to create hopelessness, and we're very threatened at losing important relationships. So when you can introduce something that says, oh, there's something you can do, there's something you can be powerful about. You may not be able to control that person, but on a good day, you can control this person. So why don't we work on that? Let's go to work on controlling what you do control and get you out of trying to control what you never did control. And that feels like such a revelation for so many people, even leaders. Even leaders are like, oh, I thought it was my job to control my people. And parents, I thought it was my job to control my children. And you're like, no, that's an impossible job. If you feel like that's your job, no wonder you feel so powerless and scared, and you're such a control freak.
Yeah.
And so people feel relieved to control something they can control, and then they feel powerful when they actually do tell themselves what to do, and they do it. Like, keep your love on.
Yeah. So it just seems to me, you know, I've been a believer for decades, and in Christian leadership and pastoral ministry for a long time, and lots of churches and lots of ups and downs. It seems, you know, sometimes we identify issues and problems, but my observation has been so often that underneath what appears on the surface is actually a dysfunctionality in how we approach each other, and the tools that we have for resolving conflict. And that if we had those tools, and if we understood those principles, actually a lot of the things that appear as issues or that people divide over are not the issues. You know, it's again and again, it's a relationship breakdown. It's not actually that theological thing or that thing that kicked off somewhere in the church. It's actually there's a breakdown in relationships. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I do. I think what happens is that we get scared or we get hurt, and then we build a case to create distance. And now we have created a situation that person cannot remedy. But we blame them for the distance.
Yeah.
You know, so in a marriage, you know, when you hurt me, I felt disrespected. I felt uh, shocked. I felt disappointed, and we get a disconnect going, maybe in a disagreement. It's in that feeling hurt that I changed my goal. My goal is no longer connection. My goal is now protect myself. And you can't reconnect because I have changed my goal. I'm going to keep distance no matter what you try. You say you're sorry. You start getting really loving. You do whatever. But I have changed my goal. Now our marriage is failing. Our relationship is failing. But I will blame it on you. I will blame what I did to me on you, and then the unrecoverable situation I'm now powerless over because I've blamed you. And that is the demise. We do that across the board. We turn our love off, and then we blame other people for the result.
Yeah.
And I think that's just such a huge deception. And it works. It works to cause massive amounts of division.
Yeah. Your books, which we're going to talk about, are drill into this deeply. But I just want to take a slight excursion. Have you come across this book, Danny, called Difficult Conversations? It's not a Christian book. How to Discuss What Matters Most. It's an incredible book, and I read it recently, and I thought, you know, I wonder if Danny has been inspired or influenced by this, because some of the things it says just so resonate with what you're saying. And one of the most powerful things that the authors say is that we think that conflict is all about who's right. And my mission is to be right, and only one person can be right, which makes me right. Therefore, you're wrong. And my mission is to show you that you're wrong and I'm right. And if you just see that, then there won't be a problem.
Yeah.
And it seems so true, and you know, so resonates with what you say, that we're on the wrong track completely, because it ceases to be about connection. It becomes a battleground for me to prove that you're wrong and I'm right, and the problem is you don't listen to me. And if you just be quiet, and listen to me and understand what I'm saying, there wouldn't be this problem.
You just described most of the pain in most families. You know, it's the number one. I've not read that book, and I don't know who it's by, but I've read a number throughout my life. I've read a number of books around communication, conflict, listening, you know, how to talk. But I think it's, you know, they're all getting at the same thing. They have a different language. I would say, you know, love casts out fear, and people are at their best when they're in love. And fear casts out love, and people are at their worst when they're in fear. So you have to decide who's your counselor. Is your counselor going to be love, or is your counselor going to be fear? Because both spirits want to influence. You have to choose. And that's why on a good day you can tell yourself who to choose. On a good day you can control your love, you can control yourself. But as soon as you give power away, you'll feel powerless and you'll be afraid. And I guarantee you, the worst you have is going to be talking.
Yeah. So the book, Keep Your Love On, or as you call it, Kylo.
Yeah.
Tell us just a little bit about the book. The three sections there, Danny: communication, connection, and boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
Why are those? What is it about those three things that makes the relationship issue move from conflict and lockup to connection and resolution and harmony and love? What is it about those three things in particular?
Well, obviously, connection has to be the goal, because we're not going to have a thriving love relationship in disconnection. We might be married, we might live in the same home, but we do not have a loving, thriving, intimate relationship until we get rid of the anxiety and the fear. So love casts out fear, but only powerful people are going to create connection and protect it. Sometimes, you know, in romantic relationships, we say we fall in connection. I just fell into it. We just like love is some kind of hole that you're walking along and you fell in love. Like, well, you didn't fall in love. You chose it.
Yeah.
You cultivate it. You honor it. You build it. You protect it. You don't fall in it. And the people that say I fell in love are also the same people that say, well, we just fell out of the hole. We fell out of love. Like, oh, wow, that's even more interesting. So establishing that we are powerful, establishing that we are responsible, establishing that we are free, those things have to be in the beginnings of love. Otherwise, you are a victim of it. It happens to you. It's something that you can't stop, or something you can't turn back on, or something that you're not responsible for. You know, if you have no choice in the matter, you're not responsible for it. So, we talk about love languages and the connection part. We talk about the goal of connection or the goal of distance. It's really about choosing love and practicing the connection, taking responsibility for your half of the connection.
Yeah.
Then when we get to communication, it's all about protecting that connection. So my style, my perspective, my goal of communication is either driving anxiety up, like what you were just talking about. I have to be right. I have to prove that you're right. You can't be me. You can't be you in this conversation. You have to be me. My job is to turn you into me. That just jacks up the anxiety. And but if I am listening so I can understand, if I can listen so I can find out how you're experiencing me, if I can listen so I can figure out what you need and then go supply that need, now I am increasing the care and the love. So we're doing either one. We're either jacking up the fear and chasing away the love, or we are raising the love level and chasing away the fear in the way that we communicate. And then boundaries has everything to do with protecting your life's environment so that you thrive. You surround yourself with relationships where you thrive. You have people that are willing and able to supply you with the things that you need, like peace and joy and love and connection and truth and faith and hope. And those are the people who have most access to you. That's how your life's going to thrive. When people start violating that and they refuse to adjust, then they run into boundaries that give them less and less access to diminish your quality of life. So it's why you have a door and walls on your house, because the people inside your house are all committed to a certain culture and quality. Lots of people walk by your house. There's just no requirement for them. But for them to come in and stay in, there is a requirement. Those are boundaries.
why is it we find boundaries? I say we. Why is it people find it so difficult to draw boundaries? So they allow people into their lives that are toxic. They allow relationships to perpetuate that are detrimental to them. And they see this happening, but it seems there's this powerlessness or this inability to draw the boundary to your own benefit. And a bit like the proverb says, you know, a city broken into. What is the human struggle there, Danny, that makes it difficult? Fear of what?
Fear of punishment, fear of judgment, fear of rejection. I'm more afraid of what you're going to do than I am committed to personal responsibility in what I grow in my life. So some people might set boundaries for other people. Like I would protect other people's quality of life. I would protect other people from abuse, but I would not protect myself because I value other people more than I value myself. I have permission to protect other people. I don't have permission to protect myself. And there's kind of an illusion that someone else is going to protect me from me, including God. God will vindicate me and kick all these disrespectful relationships out of my life. No, he won't. You get to have as many disrespectful relationships as you hold on to.
Yeah. So would you say that there is an emotional need, like a drug, a fix, a short-term fix that's being met through relationship choices that are against our better judgment, but there must be something that's being provided short-term?
Sure, there was always a cost benefit. It's just that we end up in these really expensive relationships, and we're more afraid of change than we are miserable enough to change. And so oftentimes that fear level, lives right here. I'm afraid of being alone. I'm afraid of not having enough money to do X, Y, and Z. I'm afraid that nobody else wants me. I'm afraid of the unknown. And so my misery level in the relationship rises. We have an argument. Okay. My misery level is settled. We have my misery levels and we have an argument. Okay. But I don't change. I just manage how miserable I am. But eventually the misery level surpasses the fear level. And this spot right here, this is motivation to change. Yeah. I have finally found some courage. I finally said, I don't care what happens. I don't care what you say. I don't care what you do. I am more miserable than I am afraid. And that's usually when people do something unusual. Now, sometimes the other person gets scared, and so they reduce their behavior. They say sorry, whatever, and we get our orbit back. But nothing changed except temporarily we lowered the overall misery level.
Yeah. So change is possible, isn't it, Danny?
Yes.
And
it's necessary.
Absolutely. if we're limited in time, but let me just put this to you. If somebody was recognizing, wow, this is talking about me, how do they what's the first step to get on the road of change, of personal change and responsibility? What's the first thing that will get the thing moving?
Quit blaming other people.
Awesome.
You can't change anybody else. You cannot. Stop it.
Yeah.
Put your fantasy world away.
Yep.
Go to work on who you might be able to change.
Yes.
Start right here. Lord, what do you want me to do? Lord, what do I do next? Open the eyes of my heart, Lord, and let me see and lead me.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's very much an inside job.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, I'm struck by one of Steve Covey's 7 habits, you know. Seek first to understand rather than to be understood.
Amen.
And I think, again, you know, there's this innate default. They don't understand me. What's wrong with them? Why don't they listen? Blame, disempowerment. But as soon as you reverse that round, no, I can be responsible. I don't have to talk. I can listen. I'm powerful. I can take responsibility. And I can understand. I can go on a path to understanding, and through understanding, I'm equipping myself.
Absolutely, yeah. You know, I always say the first one to listen well wins, and that is completely backwards to how most people approach problems, relationships, disconnections, because most people think the one who's the most convincing wins.
Yeah.
And so no, it's the first one to get to what is needed, because all the anxiety is really pumping out of unmet needs. Like, I need something that's not happening. You know, I'm acting like this because I'm trying to get something. Oh, you know, I broke into the food cellar because I was so hungry, not because I'm an evil thief. And you're like, oh my gosh, you know, once I understand that you're so hungry, I see you completely different.
Yeah.
And I actually want to help you. I actually want to meet the need that I now have discovered that you have. But all I saw was you banging on a door, breaking something of mine, and you didn't care what damage you were doing to that thing that's important to me. And so I'm just trying to stop you from doing damage, not really understanding what you're after. And that's the interaction between human beings again and again, is they're trying to get something that the other person just doesn't understand. So if I actually take the time and say, what is it that you need?
Yeah, that's it.
That changes my course right away.
Yeah. Yeah. That is so good. That is so powerful. I want to move the conversation on a little bit, Danny, to a related area of this, and it's to dig into the whole thing of honor and culture of honor. There's a particular reason, because of all the things we are so challenged by in society, which has become so divisive, polarized, and, you know, hostile. But so your book, Culture of Honor, and your teaching, which we have soaked ourselves in for years, quite honestly, and just so benefited from. But it's, again, another area of misunderstanding. You know, we watch the mafia movies, and we instinctively think honor is about, you know, something you demand, something you expect. You don't respect me, you should honor me. It's about some hierarchical thing, you know.
Yeah.
But help us, just let's dive into this a little bit, Danny. How would you define honor from a biblical kingdom standpoint? What do you mean by honor? What do you mean by culture of honor?
Well, I'll steal a definition from Bill Johnson. He, I don't know, I think I was with Bill for 36 years and sat down with him and Chris one day we did an interview in a series called Foundations of Honor, and there was a bonus DVD that went with that purchase. And on there, I start out with, Bill, what would be working definition of honor, because I've never heard Bill teach on honor. You know, Chris and I could not think of one time Bill teaching on honor in Weaverville. Never even really heard the word. And he says, oh, honor is when I treat you the way I would treat Jesus. And I thought, what? He goes, we are to do all things as unto the Lord. And I thought, oh my gosh, I've never heard you say that ever. In the history of our time together, I've never heard you say that. But that puts it in perspective that honor isn't something that you get, like the mafia leader or the senior pastor or the politician or the CEO. You know, honor me is the classic. Honor flows towards me.
Yeah.
But honor your parents. So the parents say, honor me. But it's really, honor is what I give. I have the assignment to honor all people. The same verse in 1 Peter that says, honor the king, starts with honor all people. So it is a misnomer or a misunderstanding that honor something I get, or honor is what two people who agree with each other exchange, basically validating themselves. So when I have a relationship with somebody who agrees with me, I'm like, yeah, well, yeah, exactly what you're saying. You are so right. I absolutely agree with you. Phew, you should run for office. I totally love all of me that I see in you. You know, that is also known as honor, which I affirm what I value when I see it in other people. The test of honor comes when we disagree. When I don't see me in you, I wonder what there is to honor, because I usually only honor myself in other people. And when I can't find me in you, what would I honor?
Yeah.
And now we have social media. Now we have Facebook. Now we have all these conversations around, I don't see me in you, therefore I brought no honor with me.
Yeah. Yeah. So the last few years, the fragmentation of our societies, you know, you have your situations, political, etc., in the States. We had Brexit, we had elections, we've had COVID, and to be honest, at times it's been distressing to see the way Christians have behaved toward each other on social media over issues. And it's, you know, why is it that disagreement causes a complete falling away of civility, let alone love? What is going on here? Because, like you say, we get the idea of honor, but we make it conditional upon agreement. But how on earth do we honor people that we disagree with? How do we do
love them? We love them, right? I mean, the stuff that you see, the conversations that you observe, the rants in the comment sections about this, that, the other thing, it's all immature love. It's severely immature love, because our love is supposed to love our enemies. Somebody I know willfully wants to destroy me. I have the call to love that person, let alone the person that disagrees with me, let alone the person that thinks we should get a vaccine or not get a vaccine, or wear a mask or not wear a mask, or shut down the economy or not shut down the economy, or vote for this or vote for that, let alone just disagreement. I know that you hope for my demise, and the capacity of love I have is to remove you as being my enemy by loving you that well. So everything else that's going on, all this stuff is just putting on display that very immature love that's just jacked with fear.
So when there are issues in society that touch raw nerves, people feel strongly about, how do we navigate a place for disagreement, or the ability to debate, the ability to have an opinion or a view, and at the same time maintain honor and love? Because we're not saying you just keel over, bury conviction, swim with the tide, be Mr. Nice Guy. How do these things work together practically?
Well, I probably my best illustration would be, how do you and your wife work out a disagreement? By now, you and Ursula have found something that you very much disagree about. And every time you talk about it, you disagree.
Oh, just one or two things, Danny,
I'm trying to keep it down here, Tony. Come on, I'm trying to keep it down. So how do we protect our union of connection and our covenant of marriage while there are these things that put on display that we are very different human beings? How do we do that? How do I do that with my adult children? My adult children have such a different worldview. They have such a different everything. They have a whole set of options about, how church should go, how the country should go, how the economy should go. And I listen and I go, no, stop. But I will never sacrifice my relationship with my son or daughter over one of those conversations.
Yeah.
Why? Because of love, because of agape love, because of my covenant love with them. I will never make an enemy out of my child. I won't do it. You can't get me to do it. You cannot get me to make an enemy out of my child.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Why? Because of my decision. My decision to never turn them into an enemy.
Yeah. That is so wonderful. That is so powerful. Do you see it happening? We look at the church in America, and we see it so politicized, so polarized around issues. These touchstone issues. I won't name them because we don't want to get into them. But we know.
Trigger.
We're not. But how do we navigate these in the body of Christ when for yourselves in America, it's become so politicized?
We just have to keep our love on. I'm not trying to be trite there, but I am trying to say, quit blaming other people because you gave yourself permission to be disrespectful. Quit blaming other people because you gave yourself permission to be dishonoring. Quit blaming other people for how you treat them. Stop and be Christ-like. It starts right there for 100% of the people.
Yeah, but many, Danny, they define Christ-likeness as standing for the issue.
So did the Pharisees. And then they killed Jesus. It's obviously when when you are willing to kill someone over an idea, you have no idea what love is.
Yeah. So give us, what do you feel the Lord is saying in all of this? From your own perspective, Danny, let's close this now and bring it to a head. What do you see? What do you hear? What do you feel the Lord is saying in this arena right now?
The drum that we're beating is whole, healthy families are going to save the world, not governments, not political action groups, not rich people, not poor people, not the haves and not the have-nots and not all that. It's going to be whole, healthy families. It's going to be people who learn covenant love, practice it well, and export it in their community. It's going to be whole, healthy families who create whole, healthy communities, who create whole, healthy people. And we've got to get back to that, because the idea that we can afford to be divided up into tiny little microscopic powerless warmongers is the devil. It is Satan's soup that he is stirring up.
Yeah.
And people got to quit eating that stuff and get back to lay your life down.
Yeah.
Love one another as I've loved you. It's I'm not trying to be trite, but I am trying to remind people that, we got one rule as believers.
Yeah.
It's just one, love.
Yeah.
Do a good job. Good job with this rule, and you'll get another one. Maybe you won't need another one if you do a good job with that one.
Yeah. Yeah. What would you say to people who, give you the criticism? This sounds like, sometimes watering the things you teach, Danny. It's you're compromising righteousness. You're going easy on sin, all this honor stuff, and keeping your love on. Where is truth? Where is righteousness? How do you counter that charge?
Well, anybody that says that hasn't read one thing I've written.
Which is normally the case.
My harshest critics don't know me at all. So whatever. I don't even know what to say. If you're coming at me with that kind of stuff and you don't, you didn't find out, you didn't understand.
Yeah.
Then I'm sure that you have other relationships that are struggling as well. So I would say, please test me. Please check out the stuff. Love is the toughest job you will ever do in your life. So if somewhere you thought I was letting you off a hook, no. I ran that hook all the way through your whole body, and it's now sticking out your foot. You are so on the hook. You'll never get off.
Yeah. Yeah, that is so true. I mean, we've had time in the car, we've had time in the home. I know that's true of you, Danny. You won't shirk off difficult questions, putting people on the spot. I think that people who caricature this message like that, they don't understand, because God's love is fierce, it's fiery, it's stronger than death. It took Jesus to the cross. His love is a violent love. It's a jealous love. The descriptions of gospel love is not some fluffy Easter bunny. It's the strongest thing in the world, the love that sent Jesus into this world to die for us. Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, Danny, bless you, and thank you so much for your
good
time.
To see you, Tony. Tell Ursula and Ben I said hello.
Yeah.
Tell Ben Danny Silk says hello.
And once again, for people who want to connect with you, Loving on Purpose is the ministry.
Yeah,
.com. Lovingonpurpose.com.
that'll
Danny,
get you there.
bless you and thank you so much.
Bye, Tony. So good to see you
Bye-bye.
again, friend. All right. Bye-bye.